Disclaimer. Everything presented in this series is alleged, my personal opinion, satire, dramatization, or based on my own lived experience and publicly available information. Names, timelines, and events may be condensed for storytelling purposes. Please do not contact, harass, threaten, stalk, investigate, hex, spiritually attack, emotionally support, or marry anyone mentioned in these videos. This content is intended for commentary, discussion, entertainment, emotional processing, and surviving adulthood with a sense of humor. Viewer discretion is advised because honestly, what the hell even was this? People think exhaustion happens all at once, like some dramatic breakdown. But honestly, it happens slowly. One responsibility at a time. One favor at a time. One more thing. And then another thing. And then another thing. And eventually, you realize that you've become the thing that's holding everybody's life together. The appointments, the groceries, the bills, the emotions, the routines, the survival. And nobody even notices anymore. Stop being a person and become the system. And the craziest part, I really thought this was normal. I thought everybody lived like this. And I had absolutely no idea my entire reality was about to collapse. I remember thinking, if I just worked harder, managed things better, stretched money further, stayed calmer, maybe things would finally stabilize. Because I truly believed that we were struggling together. I thought we were drowning as a family. So I cut corners everywhere. I skipped meals, lived on coffee, stopped buying things for myself completely. I made groceries stretch in ways that honestly should have been impossible. And every time I asked questions about money, there was always some explanation. Bills, stress, debt, pressure, bad timing. So I believed him. Because when you're living it with somebody, you don't immediately assume they're living an entirely different reality behind your back. And meanwhile, I was carrying everything. The emotional load, the house, the kids, the appointments, the routines, the breakdowns, the recovery, all while genuinely believing we're both doing our best. I had no idea that one piece of paper was about to make me question the last 20 years of my life. I think the hardest part to explain is that I genuinely not even romantically anymore necessarily, but as parents. I thought we were two exhausted people trying to survive life and raise our kids the best we could. I thought we were in the trenches together, fighting for therapies, appointments, school systems, mental health, stability, routine. I truly believed we were both sacrificing for the same goal, our children. So while I was stretching every dollar, skipping meals, drowning in stress, and trying to hold the entire emotional structure together, I thought he was struggling too. I thought we were carrying the same weight. But slowly I started realizing that something felt off. Because while I was surviving in crisis mode, he still somehow had freedom, space, energy, money for himself, time for himself. And I couldn't understand how we were supposedly drowning together while I was the only one grasping for air. That's the part that still messes with my head sometimes. I wasn't being abandoned by some obvious villain. I was being slowly handed the scraps while believing we were sharing the meal. Looking back now, I think I stayed in survival mode for so long that exhaustion became my entire personality. Every day felt exactly the same. Wake up, manage the house, manage emotions, manage appointments, manage money, manage crises, manage everyone else's nervous systems, while mine quietly collapsed in the background. And I genuinely believed this is what being a good mom looks like. Meanwhile, I was disappearing. Not dramatically, not all at once, just slowly. I stopped resting, I stopped dreaming, stopped thinking about myself as a person outside of responsibility. I became productivity, caretaking, damage control. And the really messed up part is because I was functioning, nobody realized how exhausted I actually was. People only notice when women completely fall apart. Nobody notices the woman quietly carrying everything for years while smiling through it. And honestly, I think by the time the divorce happened, I was already running on fumes emotionally. I just didn't know yet that things were about to get so much worse. My joy came from peaceful moments like that. And then the music stopped, and I had to walk back into a life that was quietly crushing me. We were living together at that point, but honestly, it felt like we were living completely different lives under the same roof. Every day for me was survival mode. Wake up exhausted, manage the house, manage the kids, manage appointments, manage groceries, manage emotions, manage crises, manage the constant invisible labor of keeping an entire family functioning while maintaining my own full-time employment. And meanwhile, his life stayed, strangely, untouched by all of it. Would go to work, come home, play games, disconnect, sleep peacefully while I somehow had convinced myself that made sense. That because he worked outside the home, everything happening inside the home automatically became my responsibility. Even when I was drowning. Even when I was visibly exhausted. Even when I was saying myself without actually saying the words out loud yet. And the weird thing about emotional burnout is you stop expecting support after a while. You adapt, carrying everything alone. Until one day, you look around and realize that you've become the full-time caretaker of an entire household, while somebody else just lives there. And I'm not joking, you guys. This man didn't even clean his own apartment for 3 years. Like, you can't make this stuff up. At some point, I stopped feeling like a partner or even a person, honestly. I felt like staff, like the unpaid operations manager of everybody else's lives. And because I loved my kids so much, I just kept going. I just kept telling myself, it's temporary, things will get better, he's stressed too. We're building a future. But meanwhile, I was surviving on caffeine, adrenaline, and pure obligation, and he somehow still had hobbies, free time, energy, peace. That part still blows my mind sometimes. And then the divorce judgment came through, and honestly, we were both happy, relieved even. After years of stress and survival mode, it felt like maybe we could finally move forward peacefully as co-parents. I really believed that. But almost immediately, everything started changing. My daughter was really struggling to keep her space clean. And at first I thought, okay, she's overwhelmed too. Because honestly, we all were. But then she tells me all of a sudden that she can't stand me and ran away to her father's girlfriend's apartment. The relationship I begged him not to ruin because I was so excited to have another parent that could actually watch them. And suddenly, it felt like somebody was slowly rewriting the entire history of our family in real time. The same struggles we had all worked through together for years were being questioned like they never existed at all, and that part broke me. Not because my daughter left the house, but because it felt like I was watching my relationship with my child get slowly pulled apart while I stood there emotionally exhausted and completely powerless to stop it. And then it started happening with my son too. The texts, the pressure, the subtle manipulation, the suggestions that somehow none of this was real, that I had imagined it all. Meanwhile, I was sitting in a house with almost no food, trying to stretch groceries, trying to survive emotionally, trying to keep the lights on, trying to hold myself together. Then came the eviction notice. When the financial disclosure came in, honestly, I will never forget the feeling of staring at these numbers. Because suddenly the years of panic stopped making sense. The skipped meals, the grocery stress, the constant fear, the survival mode. I had only truly believed we were drowning together. But the reality sitting on paper told a completely different story. And that was the moment that everything changed, because now it wasn't just heartbreak anymore. Now it was serious. Now it was court. And then came court. And honestly, we got our asses kicked. Not just legally, emotionally too. I remember sitting there feeling like my son and I barely even existed in that room. Like our actual real life didn't matter. The exhaustion, the fear, the years of caregiving, the financial reality, the emotional collapse. None of it felt human in there. It felt procedural, cold, dismissive. And then we walked out of court and it was Christmas. And I remember thinking, how are we supposed to celebrate right now? Because emotionally, we had nothing left. No energy, no money, no joy, honestly. Just two exhausted people sitting in a house trying to survive the saddest Christmas of our lives. But that didn't stop me. A new episode next week.